We Africans love to blame everyone else for the continent underdevelopment. We blame our leadership, the West, the moon, the star, the sun, everything and everyone else but ourselves. But the truth of the matter is that we Africans are the major problem of the continent. Let's talk about it in this episode. Hey, what's up my lovely people? How you all doing? Thank you so very much for returning to my channel and for subscribing. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Your support goes a long way, believe me. I cannot believe that 2022 is almost over. We are in Christmas already. Compliments of the season, my beautiful people. I wish you all joy, happiness, and everything that you wish to achieve in 2022. Believe me, it is never too late. So let's get into the topic of today. We African people have responsibilities to our people and our nations. Have we done that? What have we contributed to the development of our nations? How have we contributed to the quality and the standard of life for our people? This is a question that we have to ask ourselves, because at some point we need to quit blaming to actually self-reflection and self-examination. That's how we grow. We can never grow by blaming everyone else and continue on the path of mistakes that we do. Because when we understand that we are doing something wrong, then we can take measures to change whatever we are doing. So, I'm going to discuss 5 points why I think that African people are the major problem of African continent. We can blame anyone else that we want as much as we want to blame. But the problem is that we are the major problems. So number 1 is that we have no nation building mindset. Like I keep saying it, and I will continue to reiterate it, that nation building is not just the exclusive jurisdiction of the government or the leadership. It's a combination of our government and the people's efforts. It's the combination of the leadership and the followership efforts. But what have we done in our own part? We have no commitment to our people and our nations whatsoever. We don't have issues to quickly take the education and the skills that we acquire from Africa to somewhere else where we are not even needed. Somewhere else that has tons and tons of professionals like us. But we don't mind taking our skills out of Africa to monetize them to the fullest. What do you think is going to happen in the continent when people like you, who have the education, the knowledge, the technocracy, and the skills to develop the continent, but you choose to leave? Number 2 is we are self-driven, very selfish, self-centered, and greedy. We fail to recognize that African nations are developing and most of them are poor. But we will migrate just because we think we are not getting paid huge salaries. That is the problem with African people. We are not willing to sacrifice anything to our nations and for our people. We don't care what happens to our people as a result of our professional absence in our nation. As long as we are in pursuit of affluence, wealth, and whatever that makes us personally comfortable. Sadly, none of this selfish mindset can facilitate any kind of development in Africa. And according to us, we want to go somewhere else to search for quote and unquote greener pastures and better opportunities. And we completely forgotten that the places that we are heading to were some time in history like the Africans that we are living through today. But the government and the people work diligently hard to get those developed countries, to the point where it is right now. If they ran out of their countries, maybe we wouldn't have these developed countries that we are running to. We expect magical transformation of our nations without putting in the work. When we are not getting it, we are out. The fact of the matter is that this is an illusion. Our nations will not develop if we don't do the work that is required. But the funny thing is, like, wherever we are running to, we end up being their greener pastures and better opportunities for them, because they will exploit you. They will tear you down for years, working and paying into their tax pool. You end up making them richer, and you will never be wealthy. All you can do is to afford food and put food in your mouth and pay your bills and then, get by every day. Number 3 is lack of empathy, sympathy, and compassion for our people, especially professionals who have what it takes to improve the standard and quality of life of Africans. I'm talking about medical professions mostly. But in our pursuit of personal wealth and affluence, we don't care how many of our people dies. Because of course, African mortality rate is very high. People die in their 30s, 40s, and 50s because there's no health care. There is no doctors. If you go to the general hospitals or the teaching hospitals in a whole world full of patients, there is only one doctor. Where are the rest of the doctors? They ran to the West to be exploited. They let themselves brain drained. I'm wondering how these doctors feel when they get news from home, like their loved ones, cousins, siblings, friends, parents dies. Did they ever think whether there would have been a difference if they would have been around to give back to their people? I don't think so, because we are blinded by our greed, blinded by our selfishness. As soon as they graduated the medical school, they would take the knowledge, education, and skills that they have, jump the ship to the country that already have a bunch of medical professionals. But the only problem here is that they don't want to pay their healthcare workers. They want to pay them peanuts. And of course, they know their rights. And most of them will quit the system. And their government don't care, because of course, they know where to get replacement for their doctors that are quitting. Like in UK, the doctors and nurses are quitting NHS in record numbers over complaints about many things. But hey, their government lets them quit. Because next thing, they're going to run as fast as possible to Africa to scoop the little medical professionals that Africa have, especially Nigeria. 10,296 Nigerian trained medical doctors are currently certified and working in United Kingdom. They were brain drained to go replace their doctors and nurses that they couldn't pay. And they let themselves being exploited, put through incredible workplace, hardship, and expected to deliver. These foreign doctors are put through enormous abuses in NHS system. But they put away their decency and self-respect. Because, of course, they are in pursuit of dollars and pounds while watching their own people die.
I feel anxious because, I can't explain what it means like just being confined to this place for 7 days, 24/7. Every day I work in this hospital, I always thought that something could go wrong.
Augustine is one of 9,500 Nigerian doctors licensed to work in the UK. Recruitment from abroad has never been higher, with 40% of doctors trained overseas.
I would wake up at 6:30, be on the ward at 7, and it was an 80-bedded hospital. So I was looking after all of the patients on the ward, outpatient setting, the CT and X-ray, and I'll be working from 7 up until 11.
At night?
Yeah, at night. And I would think that I'm meant to go to bed, just get some rest. But then when you go to bed, you get a call, all patients complain about this, and your sleep is ruined, so I'm not able to sleep again up until 7 again, and the cycle continues for 1 week.
It's not just the medical professionals, but it applies to everyone that has the skills, the technocracy, and the talent, especially people in tech, and then and other professions, engineering, that can be able to facilitate the development in Africa. And you all leave. Who's going to develop Africa? So that's the problem. At the end of the day, Africa needs all of us to join hands to bring our continent to the next level of development. Look at China. In the 1990s, China was very poor. Singapore, Hong Kong, most of these Asias was very poor. How did they get it to this point? Because they are committed to their nations. Even if they have to go somewhere else to obtain education, they're always going to go back to give back to their country. This is why China has become the leading economic hub and the global manufacturers. Can we ever dream about getting there in Africa? No, because our own selfishness will not let us. Number 4 is our politics. We Africans need to understand our civil responsibility, our rights in our democratic dispensation. Because democracy means the government of the people, for the people, by the people. Is a people-centered government. The people have the enormous power to change things that we don't like. We just don't elect governments and go home to sit and do nothing to facilitate our government. Because politicians everywhere are crooks. They're not trying to do their job. It is the citizens that is going to put their feet on the grill and twist their hands to make sure that they do the job that they are elected to. But we don't do that in Africa. All we are sycophants, admiring them while they loot our collective resources. We need to change our political mindset. Because we can complain about our leadership as much as we want to complain. But at the bottom line is that we have the responsibility to rein in and control our government. But we're not doing it. We need to vote them out when they don't deliver. Yes, of course, politicians also have a report card. If they do not deliver what they campaign on, we have no obligation to re-elect them. But some of us, especially in my own country of origin, Nigeria, we will be willing to take peanuts from politicians to sell our votes. And the same people are the ones running out of Nigeria in what they call Japa. They are running out of Nigeria. That is after destroying the nations by their own attitude, their greed, and their own conduct. Because like I said, Nigerian government are the reflection of Nigerian people. And I'm going to be careful about applying this theory to other African nations that I don't know. But in my own home country, our people can be corrupt. And they celebrate corrupt government. And they turn around to complain about what is not done in Nigeria. The last and the final one is a permanent emigration from Africa and to never return. I have no issues with people emigrating to go to school, to acquire knowledge, to acquire skills, to work a little bit, to have an experience. And, I have no issues with that. But I have a lot of issues when we are not even thinking about returning to the continent to give back what we have learned or the skills we have acquired. We stay put and continue to work the rest of our lives in this place to scoop the last dollars. Damn, we will continue to work to 70 years or 75 years. And then when they eventually dies, their bodies are repatriated to their home country that they have not been for decades. They have not contributed or given back to. If you couldn't identify with the continent when you were alive, couldn't invest anything on it, give back, or help in any way, shape, or form, why is it necessary to take your body back to the continent to bury? No, but certainly Africa is not a cemetery. And Africans, their people that they abandoned, are not there to do funeral for them. They shouldn't, and they are not obligated. Everything that I'm saying applies to me too. This is why I am trying to make my way back to the motherland. I think that Africans in diaspora should take early retirement to go back to their continent, to give back their skills, train the younger generations of Africa. At least if we are not there to facilitate the development, we have an obligation to transfer our skills to the younger generations to continue where we couldn't. What is wrong with it? Must we be here trying to get all the dollars until 80 years? My dear people, these 5 things that I mentioned is something that we Africans, we have to examine, think about, and ask ourselves a question. How have we contributed to African development? At what point are we going to move back to the continent to contribute? Africa needs everything. Any little way you can contribute, it goes a long way. So please, let us stop complaining about what is not done in Africa to start thinking about how we're going to change those things we are complaining about. Otherwise, we need to sit in our ivory castle in any of the Western countries that we are living in. We need to shut up our mouth. We abandon ours to come and develop the oppressors' countries, which, of course, our ancestors developed under enslavement, and we are happy to come in the millennium to finish up the development where our ancestors stopped and continue to neglect and abandon Africa. Shame on all of us. We all need to start making provision on how to go back to the continent, okay? At least to give 5 or 10 years of our life back to our nations, because they deserve it. Our nations deserve it. They gave back to us. They are our ancestry. They are our root, our heritage. We went to school. They trained us. They gave us the basic skills, the basic knowledge and basic education for us to turn our back on them. We are mean-spirited and we are cruel. Thank you so much, my people. I am so sorry that I'm going hard on my African people, but truth must be told, okay? Truth must be told. We need to start doing the work and quit complaining. Thank you so much, my people. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button and the notification bell, like, please, and share. Okay, let's grow this channel. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.